Hey everyone, we're back here again with Mark. Sure you remember him, it was only a couple of videos back. And it's funny because we were talking about a situation that Mark was facing. What was it, 10 years ago last time?
Yep.
And something similar might be happening in Mark's life right now as we speak. Mark, do you want to go into that story a little bit?
Yeah, so basically 10 years ago, I was working for a firm that you guys may have heard of called Lehman Brothers. They went out of business. The question was, what do I do at that point in life? How do you move forward, face the uncertainty, tackle what you need to do? I'm in a situation right now where a company I work for is being taken over as well, same situation. And so what do you do? How do you handle? What's the mental and physical steps that you should do to deal with uncertainty in your life? What lessons can you maybe learn from what I'm going through? And maybe I can share a few insights that you guys will find useful.
All right. So how, according to you, you said you had like an 8-step plan or something like that in order to get through this?
So here's what I'm thinking. I tried to frame this up, Antonio, that no matter what challenge you or your viewers may be facing, these are some steps they can think about. I've broken it down into 8 steps. So there'll be 8 things that we're going to run through pretty quickly. The first 4 are going to be basically mental steps, psychological, how you should set your mindset. And I know that's right up your alley, so I'll expect some commentary there. And the second 4 are going to be actual physical steps, things you can do that aren't just, hey, fluffy, feel good, but what should I actually be doing to get myself through it?
I love that stuff just as much as I love the mental stuff. So don't get me wrong. Heading down the right path already. Let's hear it.
When you're facing uncertainty, and as I am in a job situation, or as you may be relationships, or whatever goals you're setting out in life, business, whatnot, first thing is to expect the best, right? You have to expect the best outcome for yourself.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to call this leveraging expectancy. And this is something, if anyone follows me on Insta, this was my point from this morning. It's a strategy. Expectation can be used as a strategy in life. And what I mean is, if something, in my case, like with Lehman Brothers, they went bankrupt. But guess what? Barclays shows up and buys the company. I didn't do that. It just worked out for the best. I worked for a company named Instinet years ago. I got laid off, like many people have been. And Morgan Stanley contacted me. Now, that was because of reputational. But the point is, you don't know what's coming around the bend. Whatever challenge you're facing, you wish you could see the end of it. And how is this going to work out? Mm-hmm. But my point is, expect the best, because something will always happen. Either you'll make it happen, or it's called fate, or whatever it may be. It's by doing nothing that you lose. So you know you're not going to do that. Expecting the best and being optimistic brings about its own results, because it gives you determination and grit. It gives you something that you're not giving up. If you know it's going to turn out for the best and it hasn't yet, you're going to keep trying. But once you believe you're defeated, as you well know, Antonio, you become defeated.
Yeah, that part is true. Like, if you're already defeated in the mind, you might as well just give up, because mentally, if you're not there, you're not going to take the action to get there, and then you're not going to get any results. Right. But it's funny you say that you should expect the best, because I actually just did a recent video of talking about my first relationship and what happened there.
Okay.
And I didn't expect the best out of it. Long story short, I'm not going to get into all of this right now, but what happened was that we were talking, we got into a little argument. It turned into like we stopped talking for a full month, right? So like throughout that time period, I started expecting the worst and saying, okay, we broke up, right? In my head, I started saying that. That allowed me to come terms to the news a lot better, right?
Setting your mind.
Yeah, like it allowed me, because like if I would have told myself that everything's fine, we're gonna be okay, I might have been lying to myself and set my expectations too high, and then when the breakup actually happened, I might have gotten hurt way more.
Right.
So there's like the two sides of the coin of being optimistic, where it allows you to achieve more, but if you set your expectations lower, then you won't be let down as much. So that's something that like I play around with. I'm not really sure where the right balance is at all times.
Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I was at the Boy Scouts, or whatever that is. Right. I'm with you. All I'm saying is you can use optimism as a leverage point against yourself. And I agree with you. Everything you said, you want to be prepared, because once you accept it mentally, you're more able to handle things. So you got a great point. But I'm just saying, as a strategy, optimism is something that people don't think of as a strategic thing. They think of it as a fluff.
Okay. So instead, it should be like what you just said, like prepare for the worst, like not expect the worst, but prepare for it. Be ready for that to happen, but at the same time, have hope and be positive and say, like, it could turn out way better than that.
I'm not going to go God on you, but call it the universe, call it whatever you like. But the universe knows what's coming for you, right? You don't, but something will at some point. So you need to just look on the bright side and say, okay, I'm going to expect this to be the best because that's the outcome I am envisioning. And I'm going to try to create that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first step. So the second step, if you can comment on that if you'd like.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm with you.
The second step is to take the long view, right? You want to view time as being to your advantage. When people are in a situation where they're uncertain, they view time as their enemy. But in fact, time works to help you. And I'm going to give you a story, something I read a few years ago. I think it was Paulo Coelho. If you guys are familiar, he's an author. And
Alchemist?
Yeah, there you go. So you'll know this one then. Story of there's an ancient king, I think in India, who condemns a man to death. And the man appears before the king and he says to him, Your Majesty, I know that you are a wise ruler. In my family, I'm the only one who's ever been able to teach a white horse how to fly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you let me live, I will be able to prove that to you. And the king says, What do you mean? And he says, Well, it takes a while, but it has to be a pure white horse, and I need 2 years to do it, but I can teach a white horse to fly, and no one else in the kingdom can do that. So the king is rather suspicious, but he says to the guy, Okay, you're on. I'll give you 2 years. We'll get you a white horse. If you can't teach the white horse to fly in 2 years, we'll hang you. So the guy says, No problem. He goes home. His family's like, Are you crazy? Nobody knows how to teach a horse how to fly.
Yeah.
You're doomed. And the guy looks at his family and he says something to the effect of, There's a couple of outcomes here. Number one, with 2 years, I may be able to teach a horse to fly. You don't know that. Number two, it's 2 years. The king could die. Number three, it's 2 years. The horse could die, and I need a new horse to start over again. Mm-hmm. And number four, any number of things could happen. So we're talking about optionality. My point is this, that in time, it can work to your advantage. Yes, it can hurt you, but it can help you. And so people initially think, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in a bad situation. How do I wish I could just fast forward this period of my life. We've all been there.
Yeah.
But time can be your ally. Things change with time. And that can be a good thing. The third thing is related. It's build a positivity cocoon, right? We've talked about this before.
Oh, yeah.
You need to insulate yourself in a matter of can do. And that's got all the inputs from video to audio to what you read. And when we talk about this, you are the expert on this, Antonio. You could probably preach on this one for an hour. But once you set up your positivity cocoon, it has to be a regular routine of positivity. And I'll give you an example. For me, I like to work out in my basement, lifting weights, whatever, but it could be yoga. It could be whatever you do. Mm-hmm. At that point, you program your mind. You do it on a regular basis. So I'll take 1 week and for 5 straight days, I'll do nothing but leadership training, or I'll do 5 straight days of entrepreneurial training, or 5 straight days of like, whatever it is I've decided that's my lesson plan for the week. I'm not being tested. There's no one putting me to this, but I can program myself, and so can you. So that's point about positivity cocoon and programming. And the fourth and final, call it mental step, is going to be to rehash in your mind your adaptation skills. Adaptation. Human beings are adaptation machines, right? There's a woman who swam the Bering Strait recently. I don't know if you can Google this. There's people, all the famous explorers, people can do anything once they set their mind to it. Oh, yeah. There's quadriplegics that have climbed Mount Everest. So the point is this, you can acclimate yourself to any level of discomfort, including whatever you're going through. And how do you get through that? You rehash the times in your life that you were able to make the adjustment and adapt. And it's going to be simple. For regular people, it's going to be things like switching jobs. That time you graduated school and started at a new university or whatever. Mm-hmm. For me, I wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and I did. Like, I learned things in life, and you've learned things in your life. And there's stuff that you went through once that was miserable, but the second time around, you were wiser. And it might be related.
You're saying, like, harp on these past opportunities to, like, use that as motivation, or use that as, like, look, I've been through some shit. I can get better now.
Reinforce what you've done in the past that made you adapt.
Yeah.
Remind yourself, I've done things like this. So you want to basically relive the experience of when you needed to adapt to something difficult, and you did. right? So this is part of that mental programming, but it's a specific thing. It's from your life. It's taking a page out of your life. For me, when I graduated high school and went to college, I went to Lehigh University. I was very nervous. I wasn't going to make friends. I ended up making a lot of good friends, as we all do. But that was a situation where I came out of there thinking, oh, I'm skilled in making friends. I didn't know that. So now it's not a problem for me. And the point is, when you're going through situations where you're doubting yourself or you're uncertain what's going to happen, you need to remind yourself of the times you were facing uncertainty in the past and you were able to adapt to it. So that's the fourth, call it mental step. So now we're moving to actual things you should be doing. That's great that we program our mind, but what can you actually do? Number one, formalize a stress reduction technique. I mentioned a second ago that I like to work out. Some people like to meditate. Some people like to read to relax. Some people like yoga. It doesn't matter. I know you personal development is your thing. Like whatever it is that makes you feel and puts you in that place, formalize it. I do it every morning at the same time. You can do it every evening. It doesn't matter, but you can't be like when I get around to it, because life gets stressful when it's uncertain, and you need to take control and box it up and say, okay, I'm now in that period where I need to be doing my stress relaxation technique, whatever it might be.
You got to have some certainty. Otherwise, then it feels like everything's in chaos.
Right. Because if you can make that commitment to yourself and deliver yourself some stability in that small regard, it provides a mental stepping stone for the next thing. So that's number one. The second step is going to be to control what you can by writing a plan, right? I'm not necessarily a poet, but this is how I think of it. You can control some parts of it. You need to actually plan your work and work your plan, right? We've all heard that. Write it out. I know you could talk about this for an hour, I'm sure. But you make your plan of, this are the steps I need to take to get myself out of this uncertainty. In my situation, I'm facing a company takes over another company. I'm in the acquired firm. So I've got several steps I can take if I wanted to. I can work harder and secure myself a position. I can build my network. I can go job hunt. I can do a million things, the stuff I can do, or I can do nothing, which is what most people do. Complain. I can worry. I can go home and sweat. My point is, take steps, like actually doing something, because even if it doesn't produce results, it feels good. It feels like you're making progress. It relaxes you. The third thing is to act.
The best part, I don't want to jump the gun, but you got to act on that, because if you're not, I mean, writing it will make you feel good for 5 minutes, or maybe for the rest of the night. But tomorrow when you wake up,
keep going with that. Flesh that out for me.
Yeah, tomorrow when you wake up, you're not going to feel so good, because you're going to be like, oh shit, I have all this stuff I need to do.
Right.
And you're not actually making progress. Writing the plan is one little bit of progress that actually helps you. But the next thing that you need to do is take action. Otherwise, you're not going to make any further progress. You're not going to get that little bit of dopamine you would get from making progress.
That is actually my third physical step there. Act daily. You beat me to the punch. That's great, man. See, you're on it. You want to control what you can, and you want to act. You want to write your plan out and take action. And that's got to be daily, as you know better than I. You're the master on this one. It's got to be an actual step you do each day, because inaction is a downward spiral, right? Once you don't act one day, you feel like crap, and the next day is even worse, because you know you didn't do anything when you could have.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a habit. It's not not something that you do or you don't do one day and it's okay. I mean, yeah, one day is okay, but when it becomes 2 days, I forget, I was reading this somewhere or some YouTube video where it was saying like the chances of you breaking a habit after not doing it one day only drop 10%. But the chances of you not doing a habit after you don't do it 2 days goes up to 55%. So like it takes like what? Certain 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 90 days, whatever it is to actually make a habit.
Right.
Depending on how much effort you put in. And you're gonna throw it away for 1 to 2 days of not doing it. Or 3 days, I think it bumps up to 90%. Like say goodbye to that habit you spent this much time building, right?
It's the same compounding of momentum, but in a negative way, as opposed to helping yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And people don't see it that way. Instead, they see it just as like this big obstacle in front of them. They don't really see it as like a farmer who's planting a bunch of seeds, and the seeds grow over time. But you just got to keep watering them. You got to keep giving them sunlight every single day.
That's right. That's right. Which takes effort at first, but then after a while,
and when the crop finally grows 3 months later, I don't even know how long it takes, but when the crop finally grows,
With
you
a
get
beard like that, you should be a farmer, dude. Come on, you should know these things. So my final step is going to be to list 5 physical blessings nightly. So I'm not getting religious on you, but you can be grateful for whatever you think, your health, your family. I got kids, the ability to work out for me because I know that the secondary part helps me. Friends, whatever. Like you go through it, but every night you make a list of 5 items. You actually write the list out and you say them out loud because you're hearing the reinforcement of what you do have. This is part of the positivity training, but it's actually an action step. So you can basically reinforce for yourself. It's a gratitude plan, right? I mean, we've heard about this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's once you start to build this momentum of, all right, I got all this going for me and I'm taking action and I got a lot of good stuff already. It's the momentum train. That's all you're doing is building. You're building a train. And as it starts going through, you're going to be fine as long as you keep going with it. So running through these real fast. Expect the best. You want to take the long view. You got to have a positivity cocoon that you build around yourself. You have to rehash your adaptation skills to yourself. Remind yourself of all the stuff you've done where you have adapted. You have to formalize your stress reduction. For me, that's physical, but it could be anything you like. Control what you can by writing out the plan. You want to act on it daily, which is your forte. And then you want to list the 5 gratitude items nightly. And the reason we do it at night is because you want it in your mind before you fall asleep. You want it relatively close to when you went to bedtime. And so these 8 steps are things you can do that no matter what you're facing, you're starting a business, you're going after the significant his or her other, you're trying to build something, a YouTube channel, whatever. You need to go through these 8 steps because the uncertainty can sometimes become overwhelming. But then so can you. You can become just as overwhelming if you drive yourself. It's not as hard as people say. It's easier if you have other friends or people around you, like-minded folk as like yourself, as you well know. That's part of the momentum build. Life is about momentum, right? Just getting a hold of it and driving with momentum and force. And positivity works the same way as negativity. You just got to take control of it because the negativity is the natural inclination of people.
No,
so
yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree on all 8 of these steps. I mean, the first 4 are like the primers, right? You need to have this. You need to have a perception change because you can't do anything without changing your perception. If you're thinking negatively, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to think positively first, then you can take the action. So the first 4 steps are crucial in order to get the next 4 steps to go, because if you're negative, you're definitely not going to want to write a plan. You're definitely not going to take any action.
Yep.
You don't have a plan, and you're definitely not going to look on the blessings. The blessings kind of helps with the first 4 because they talk about actually one thing I wanted to add to the blessings part was actually feeling gratitude for those things. Like you can say like, I'm thankful for the sun, but if you don't really feel what the sun actually does for you, it gives you sunlight, it gives you vitamin D, it makes you happy. It allows you to enjoy a day. Like the sun gives you so much.
Yeah.
But if you don't actually sit there and feel it, like you can write it and hear it, but feeling it, I think, is also very important.
You talked about internalizing it with emotional power.
Yeah, because a thought gets action when you give it emotion. When you give it emotion, it's like it energizes that thought, and all of a sudden it starts working in your head without you really like focusing on it. So you need to have that.
And it's the same with worry, right? When you energize it with negative, it takes power, so you can do it the other way.
Yeah, all of these things work both ways. Like,
one of my favorite expressions of all time, it doesn't matter what happens to us in life. What matters is what we do about what happens to us in life.
Yep.
And so that's to your point about action before. I feel like once you understand that life is a game, it's a mental game, once you get that, and then it doesn't matter. After that, you could do anything. You just got to focus yourself and drive.
Yep. And that's exactly it, right? Like that's what I'm trying to preach is that if you are having a problem or you want a goal or you want to take control of your life, then the one thing that you can do about it is take some action. Because if you're not, then you're choosing to say, I'm going to let life happen to me rather than I'm going to take control of life and do it to someone else.
That's right.
Not do it to someone else. Do it.
It's true, and that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Yep, exactly. And if it's not the right thing now, it might be the right thing some point down the line. But all of like I told you the Steve Jobs quote the other day. It was like, you cannot connect the dots moving forward. You can only connect looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards.
Love it.
Because yeah, right now something might be happening, but looking forward, the thing that might be happening might be the thing that leads you to this ultimately high spot where you need to be, but you're not there yet. And it's just life is just testing you along the way.
I forgot my response quote to you. It was something like, life gets a lot simpler once you realize it's made up of people who are no smarter than you. Something. It's
Yeah,
Steve Jobs.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's about, and that's the same thing. He talks about poking life and being able to manipulate and change it. There's a psychology of that.
Yeah.
All the guys that we love think that same way, and that's it. It's a mental mind game, and it takes some work to develop that. It's easier said than done, no doubt about it. But there is something to, once you've started down that road, it gets easier.
Yeah. 100%. It's I call it the self-improvement spiral. Once you get down here, you're going to start realizing a lot of bad things that you've been doing, but you also get a lot of hope for the future because you realize that your life actually has a lot more potential than you're probably raised to believe.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? You got to practice what you preach. I'm in a situation right now, like we talked about a second ago. My company's getting taken over. I don't actually know what's going to happen in a month, 3 months, 6 months. I have no idea. So what do I do? This is right now my choice of either going through the list in my own head and enacting it or not. And no one ever knows but you, right? No one, this all sounds great on tape. But at the end of the day, I got to look at myself in the mirror and like, that's that. I will know. And so will you. You will be the only one who knows if you're delivering for yourself or not. And I'm talking about delivering up here. That's the thing. That's the game of life. Because when it's all done, at some point or another, I'll be in another job or I'll be on top of this job or something. It'll work itself out one way or another, right? Or I'll be homeless under a bridge. It doesn't matter. The situation now won't be the same in the time to come. So what are we doing about it at this moment?
Yep.
It doesn't matter what happens to us. It matters what we do about it.
The present's all you can control. You can't control the future. You can only learn from the past. You can't do anything in the past either. So
love it. Love it.
All right. This was good. I hope you guys enjoyed having Marc on again. He's given a lot of his time to you guys, so it should be appreciative. Actually, I left Marc's YouTube channel in the description of the video. So if you want to go check out Marc's videos, Marc, what do you talk about in your videos?
So my primary stuff that you're going to find on YouTube at this point is going to be about electronic trading and Wall Street stuff, which is not what you want to hear about. But I will tell you this. We're going to revamp that channel, and a lot of what you'll find on the Instagram stuff will end up on YouTube, where it's basically how to get control of life, all the things you should have been taught in school but weren't, and I'm talking about self-development type of things of how to be successful. What tips and tricks and things can you employ, much like you're doing here, Antonio, to leverage yourself for the best life possible?
To be like building relationships, building rapport with people, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like my specialty I always tell the guys that I train up, you need to know in your life, for whoever you are, whatever you're doing, you need to know if you're a fork, a spoon, or a knife. Like, where do you fit in the world? And nobody knows. So you have to be able to tell people that. For me, I'm a soft skills, relationship management type of guy. I'm a relationship builder. I'm able to bond people with people. That's one of the things I like to do. I like people. I get paid money to talk on a phone and to go shake people's hands. Like, that's something I think is great.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate that. Fine. I'm not the guy you want doing your accounting. I'm not the guy you want doing your taxes. Trust me. But I am the guy you want to throw into a party where a bunch of people don't know each other. That'll all work. Yeah. So the point is this, though. I'm trying to get behind what makes that work. What can I share on these channels that would help you develop that part of yourself? Because I personally believe as the world moves forward, AI and big data and all the technology that we all read about every day, at the end of the day, the people-to-people connection thing is what makes it all work. And if you've got that skill set, you can leverage all the others. But if you've got the best tech in the world, not going to work unless you can connect it to somebody where someone says, hey, I like this guy. Let me take a look at it. So the bridge between all this high-tech stuff, the world we're heading into, is people skills. That's what I believe.
Exactly. And I work in software development field, so I see AI and firsthand. Actually, Waymo, the company that is doing the self-driving cars, next month is coming out with their app where it will be competing with Uber and Lyft, and you'll be able to pick up a self-driving car and take you around. launching in Phoenix first, and then it'll launch in other cities around the United States, and then soon it'll be in a city near you. So AI is here. It's not leaving. The only thing you can do, again, is do something about it. And the person you would want to consult here is Marc. You got him right here.
Let me use one quick example. Let's say Waymo has the best technology. They perfected it. It drives cars perfectly from here anywhere. No accidents, nothing. It works.
Yeah.
It's copied quickly, but maybe not as well, and I'm making this up, by like Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
So they're close enough. But you kind of get a feel for Elon Musk. You kind of know Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
You like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a personality in front of that company, and Waymo doesn't have a personality like that in front of it. Not like that. Not a magnetic one at this point. No, I'm not comparing. I'm just saying you as a consumer feel a personal connection of some limited degree to company X. You're going to use their product. That's it. That's the connection point, and that's what everyone needs to be thinking about. But there's a skill set behind it, right? You don't just make the best tech and it works. You make the best tech, and then you have to put a human face on it and connect it to people on a one-on-one. And that's the skill set that I think is going to get people from A to B in the world to come. That's the skill set.
Yeah.
Connecting people, being able to leverage relationships, being able to inspire, to motivate, to lead, to get folks to follow you. What is the term? Lead from behind? That's all people skills. That's got nothing to do with technology or what school I went to or how much I know or even how my work experience. Doesn't matter. But if they like me, they trust me, they feel like I know what I'm doing and they'll follow me, then they want me up front, then I'm the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's people skills.
All right.
Yeah.
You heard it first from Marc, guys. Make sure to go subscribe. Marc, thank you again for joining on the channel.
Thanks for having me, Antonio. This is a lot of fun.
All right. I will catch you in the next one, guys. Remember that if you want to take control of your life and achieve your dreams, go take action today. And one of those actions should be to go subscribe to Marc's channel. I'll catch you guys later.
Later.
Bye.